Welcome, everyone, to another members show. Today, we're going to be talking about the consciousness strike. As we're waiting for all the different members to come in, for those of you who have not read the consciousness strike or are not aware of it, you can go to the front page of andrewbartus.com and go to the Insights tab, and you'll see a new revocation called the Collective Consciousness, the Union and Communion Collective Consciousness Strike. Now, I am going to read this as part of a process of helping people understand what contract revocation can be, how it's to be used, what the different states are that are in the nature of contract revocation. We have a lot of people out here who are in the members show that have used these in different ways, different aspects, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. This alchemical union and communion consciousness strike is a synthesis of all contract revocations I've done on air. For those of you who have heard me do live contract revocations for each individual specific person that applies to many more, this is one of those documents. I wrote this document in just before Christmas in a span of about 3 hours. It was one of those divine genius moments where I was blessed with an environment that helped me create at a time where I was going through my own personal ups and downs and challenges of life. And I want to say that this document is not meant to go on physical strike here in this world. It's the unseen world that you're dealing with. When read with the proper alchemical voice, the true intent behind the words, you create a long-lasting effect for all other versions of yourself that are out there. Now, what I'm going to be reading is an extended piece. So for those of you that saw it on Facebook, it's the part that comes up. Well, there'll be some extra parts to it. So everybody just relax a little bit and get ready. We're going to take a ride. The alchemical equity, union and communion, consciousness strike, reclaiming the carrot and stick revocation. I, in the ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity for the express purpose of discooperating with any forced evolutionary service in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe in which I operate as a signature frequency of light being. I amplify my consciousness strike field, denying service to all forced evolutionary systems that are not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I open the union and communion hall of peacemakers' message in all time streams, galaxies, and universes I exist on. Union and communion hall 000 is now open for all those who understand the message of peace. The warriors of the rainbow offer these teachings in the times of now for the reasons of peacemakers' creation. The teachers who will be teachers will step forward and accept the torch of eldership. The first message to all those ready to take up the mantle of responsibility for full-on consciousness strike, say these words from inside your heart. The moment of ever-present moments has come. From this point forwards and backwards through all time space, I break away from the hologram of light that is forced evolution, domination, and control, from my signature frequency until they become a match, as an individual and collective match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I choose to be a match for peace and harmony. This choice goes out on full universal exchange. Consciousness strike has no limits of my rejections of contractual and blind tacit consent offers. My choice is to become a standing DNA light body nation with the celestial relations to Earth. My choice is to incarnate does not include me into your forced evolutionary hologram of unsovereign reality. This message is to all those who drive forward this hologram of reality. This consciousness strike creates picket lines that demand collective bargaining and mediation. The standing light body nation of one demands full light body equity for all forced evolutionary processes under your light dictatorship of domination and control. This being of the now and for all ever-present moments of now ceases, desists, and cancels any actions, non-actions, energy exchanges, knowledge exchanges, celestial DNA exchange systems, karmic or implicate order of thought constructs that create interconnectivity with forced evolutionary systems that is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. To truly understand the levels of my consciousness strike, I must name it to claim it. This is the power I am taking back from forced evolutionary systems of domination and control, while I am a signature frequency match for full, universal DNA, light body consciousness strike. I am a being whose non-hierarchical order, my strike field extends to any pecking order, collective agreement, or spiritual soul treaty created by an elite class that does not give full rights and duties, responsibilities to every person as a sacred being on a sacred path of organic co-creative evolution, with great spirit moving through the great mysteries of life. I am a being of non-duality. With this, I ceased all forced duality operations, creations of interconnected holograms of simulated dream space within your collective of domination and control that uses my DNA as a hierarchical system of forced duality. I am a being of equal co-creation, non-competitional expression with unity with Prime Creator. You are not my medium to knowledge of source light. You and all of your I am collective hierarchical yous are denied service in all color frequencies of time until you become a signature frequency match for equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. This declaration of full spiritual consciousness strike extends to my spiritual entourage, ancestors, an unseen world of energy exchangement. I deny every service of spiritual exchange, any cooperation with any corporation or incorporation of false light intelligence. I am not a being in service to war through tacit consent because I am living in your forced evolutionary system. I deny all exchange of current or currency of energy exchange through the amassment of karmic debt through the Babylonian money magic system. My price is not set or negotiable. I demand full spiritual alchemical equity in this moment. I choose to control this moment of now to testify what is blatantly obvious to anyone who is not a forced evolutionary zealot, martyring their life force for ideological theory, promoting their own creations as the only creations in existence worthy of illumination. I choose to sleep in the fires of great mysteries creation, not in the fires of your miscreation of miscreant minds lost to the petty disputes of hierarchical concepts of singular belief. I choose to dream with my source stream connection with my celestial guides and guardians in full dreamtime engagement with me. All my celestial guardians and warriors step forward on this collective consciousness strike, enforcing zero exchange, equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as the mediative means of collective bargaining with this breakaway DNA standing light body dreamtime nation of universal one. I invite all soul family relations who choose to carry the torch of full consciousness strike with the system of forced evolutionary pride. I invite all soul relations who are a signature frequency match for peace to join the Union and Communion Hall and add your signature frequency of denial of all services on all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes in which we all exchange light body DNA codes. Each person is supported by the celestial dreamtime nations who hold the mantle of peacemakers' fire of creation. I invite all lightship captains needing emergency service of denial to take up DNA port relations with the Union and Communion Hall. It can extend to any point in time, space, light creations. I extend our Union and Communion strike offers to any standing DNA light body nation embroiled in forced evolution. Deny your master's service. Deny the master of puppets the ability to put on a puppet show you believe in. We walk away, but not in betrayal, but in love for ourselves and all future relations who do not want war in their signature frequency of light creation. For every ever-present moment that has been, will be, or is, I, as my collective DNA nation of one, in communion and union strike, create a color distortion field of complete and total denial of service to the systems of hierarchical domination and control. This is a choice I choose to make solid, real, now. I choose to say no to any further cooperation of your corporation or corporeal manifestation of spiritual therapy or destiny or fate. I deny you all of your carrot and stick wisdom. I take back the stick as a form of power you perceive you have. I am a fully unpredictable source incarnate function with no light body mechanics you can manipulate, duplicate, or interconnect with until you and all of your collectives, past, present, and future, become a signature frequency match for union and communion. My reality, shaping and forming the shapeless and formless. I begin the universal hunt for all beings needing a collective bargaining services with their collectives that used forced evolution as the means of civil interaction, posing as natural order. We bring back the meaning of life to all DNA light body nations who have been forced into service to a system designed to delay, deny, or disrupt the natural co-creative evolution of a soul planning lifetimes through the fetus and womb process of light manifestation. I extend our collective power of denial of all celestial, galactic, and universal services to all universal citizens living their sacred path as their own self-illuminated master of the now. We extend our collective bargaining services to all celestial beings under the thumb of domination and control. We send you light, sound, energy creations so you may receive the fullness of our universal strike. We co-create with the infinite whale, the entire whale singing nations of all celestial-like relations, this songline of full-on celestial consciousness strike, shut off their hierarchical order of soul commerce and incarnational means. We extend a fixed point in universal space-time to be a guidepost through all time frequencies, so each celestial nation may have a solid point in galactic and universal time to plan their own processes without the system of the light dictatorship, dictating the celestial services rendering to its offspring. You are not a wet nurse to the spiritual ideology of pride. Stop following the gods that failed. They were proved they were gods. They only proved they could not endure the passage of time without understanding the universal law of one. To all those in unawareness that can strike deep down inside, you know you can reclaim your power of knowingness through the haze of race amnesia. It will take a single choice to allow Great Spirit to work with you, guided by your own actions, to begin your movement to one, to be one with the signature frequency of peacemakers, so you and all of the future yous can deny services to forced evolutionary systems of domination and control. I speak to the unseen world that guides all those in 1 degree of separation from Prime Creator, forced into mediocrity of life path. Today is the day you clock out of time and walk over the metaphorical line of creation and decide to be on full-on consciousness strike with all DNA relations, using forced evolution as the means to create a false system of collective consciousness, of elite minds ruling a collective in unknowingness. Without full knowledge, they are using and abusing the divine law of one to force ideological belief systems into the light body DNA generations of then, now, and will be. They can no longer create for you if you become a Dreamtime match for the Union and Communion Hall of Universal One. And so it begins. This address is to our ancestors, past, present, and future. This address is multi-dimensional, multi-galaxy, multi-universal address to all the factions that have taken it upon themselves to drive forward our hologram of shared unsovereign reality. We are on full universal consciousness strike. To all those self-supposed appointed leaders of this generation of the great Dreamtime awakening, and to all factions operating in Earth dream space that manipulate and pervert the natural co-creative path of our species of this planet, I say to you the following. I reject the aberration known as global media machine, which spews out lies and fabrications so your influence belief system can retain power over all those who are still unaware of their true human potential in this reality, now shared between those awake and awakening. I reject the constant assaults of propaganda impregnated with the highest dense energy levels upon our souls. I reject your system of domination and control. I spit out your sodium fluoride and GMO corn. I discard your IDs and passport systems. I delete your fiat currency and false debt created. I reject the notion of your false science of global warming. I reject your false equations of gravity and reality function. I reject your sense of culture that says we are a male-dominated society. I reject you and all that you stand for. I know love. Love is what it is, and it is the experience. And is in this particular reality, love is the foundational rule that they tried to change. Love is mother and father. Love is earth. Love is Gaia. Love is the wind, the ocean, the rain, the passing of the seasons, and the movement of the stars. All of that is an expression of love. When we choose to live in this world in full love expression, domination and control has not a place here. We are unlimited beings. We don't need to go to war. We don't have to defend. We have to learn our history. We have to look at ourselves and our DNA and take apart the sacred geometry systems of control and return them back to zero balance. With this stated, disunion and communion extends to every line of creation and every potential time stream, galaxy, and universe that needs equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as a means of collective bargaining with their forced evolutionary system that is abusing the law of one as its means of ideological manifestation of teaching truth. To whom it may concern in the forced evolutionary process of avoidance of responsibility, back your responsibility to hold for yourself. I can no longer be the recipient of your wisdom or understandings of light journeys. You and your collective are hereby notified we are on communion and union strike. All celestial services are ceased in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes I simultaneously exist on. I manifest the Peacemaker's Lodge to be the guide and guardian for all those on strike with their forced evolutionary system of domination and control. I share the torch of Elder Peacemaker's fire with all those in union and communion with this consciousness strike. We, the sovereign I am beings of the now time, make our messages known to the ancestors, past, present, and future. We are not your soul karma's market. We are our own civilization of one, separate of your projected hologram of unsovereign reality. You are banned from using our light stream in any form or of representation, physical, non-physical frequency of light. We are not objects to be held as data points for precognitive interactions. You are now severed in connection with our source stream frequency until you become a signature frequency match for union and communion with the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I call to my sacred frequency of life force, the raw spirit that fuels my expression of life drive. I call to the four elements of Earth Mother's realms. I call to the wisdom of this moment in which I reclaim my power from the systems of power distribution and the transmutation of life force into consumable fuel interconnected to the Babylonian money system. I hereby cancel all contracts with each and every energy company, transmutation system, advertising system, sacred geometry science systems that create a process of valuing power for exchange of life force. I break all contracts, vows, and agreements with all middleman scenarios that block me from direct access to unlimited energy for self-consumption and equal co-creation with Earth Mother's realms. I erase all assumed forms of tacit consent to any form of being creating forced evolution through the use of power distribution centers, counting systems, or any other means, esoteric or technological, that preclude me from unlimited access to Earth's dreamtime energy. Earth is a place of freedom and unity, not a field of useful life force to be milked of its very essence until it's dried up and useless once more. We are not beings of forced evolution. We are divine, co-creative beings of light manifested in this world. And as our divinity path of light stream, we choose to manifest here in the now. With this choice, we understand, we walk into this world awake and aware of the systems of power exchange, the power lines, power generation systems, hydroelectric, fossil fuels, each and every system that charges the individual anything at all for transmuted life force to drive scientific belief system engines of locomotion or generation of electromagnetic energy. We as natural living beings do not consume life force that is not given its full rights, duties, and responsibilities as the Blue Road ancestors, offering their post-life force as ancestral wisdom. Any power generation or distribution process that creates an imbalance in the divine co-creative will of a light being on its natural path are hereby revoked at the source stream connection point of time-space. The technological and esoteric blueprint that is imprinted upon the fabric of time-space and the dreamweave of the planet or celestial system. I deliver an immediate call upon debt and return my energetic investment in any lifetime during any of my life force harvests as the apex of my DNA ancestry registry and contract holders or giveaways ever in amnesia to be in association with my consciousness strike now. Any of my power being employed for domination and control will no longer work in any way or form that is not in consent from this I am now. Can ever be associated with any structure not in alignment with Earth Mother's true role in the universe, free of the false grid structure harnessing her. You have been served. Your borrowing from me is over for any lineage on any level, seen and unseen. Exuberant, reliant on my life force is no longer supported. I call in all markers in the time. I call in all markers in time in which I was in service to the system. Control, using that Babylonian money magic system. I call in the universal forensic accountant auditors to compare and contrast the service and light. I demand the immediate repayment of this investment of light in this time-space reality. I can extend no credit to you in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe I simultaneously exist on. I register you in the Akashic record for immediate debt collection from all celestial sources overdrawn. So remedy and resolve with forced evolutionary systems may occur. I begin the immediate liquidation and disintegration of all your seen and unseen assets, thought constructs, and ideological theories. You created this. I demand the instant gratification of all sweat equity endured in the preservation of all time-space creations during the 4 uncreational paradoxes you created. I upload the entire database of universal karmic debt for the universal tax auditors to discover the totality of karmic violations, to discover and resolve for the contract holders of violators in this moment of now to be triggered. The hierarchical system has played its last hierarchical chess move. The game is over. The Ponzi scheme has been seen in the unseen layers. This fraud time system is now exposed to all light beings in manifestation, as indebted servitude without end. No power in association to the above stated amnesia power giveaway I've participated in will support the fraud time imposition here anymore. Universal time is the only mechanism appreciated in a harmonic expression of life going forth. My power take back here allows me to feel the vitality of a sleep in after each and every sleep with full dream time recall every time I awake. This is your 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, domination and control. You too may enjoy the infinite sleep-ins within some other universe that is not ours as a process of remedy and resolve. With love, we co-create this full union and communion consciousness strike in all time streams, galaxies, and universes. With this stated, all beings in awareness and unawareness in the hierarchical management system, who should require collective bargaining and mediation with the hierarchical collective, we extend this invitation to you to join Union Hall 000. Your dues are, you must be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion. I want to take a break there for a minute. Allow many of you to catch up. As you notice, I was reading in a very different format, something I was doing absolutely on purpose. When we emanate and not emulate, we are able to bring the entirety of our message. There are some aspects of this message that can be seen as harsh or not within the light worker's point of view. I'm not a light worker. I believe that is a derogatory term. We are always light. We don't need to work at light. We live in a system right now that denies us the ability to create light. We are naturally light creative beings. In this type of revocation that is done from the alchemical process is to reclaim power from those things that no longer want you to create light on your own soon. This next part that I'm going to read is the coup de grace. It is one of those things that must be read in your most sacred neutral format. Everyone makes mistakes. The purpose of me sharing this document was so that you, the viewers, you, the members, you, the individual I am making a choice, takes the time, the effort, and the energy to read it out loud as one document without extended breaks. It is its own 10K marathon, if you should choose. But in that out loud expression, even with the little micro flaws of misstatement, you have gone the distance, proved the endurance, showed your mettle, revealed your sacred discipline to yourself to maintain that high frequency for that time that you needed to do that. So there's an expansion and a contraction and a deeper knowingness of the world around you. For those of you who haven't heard this next part, just relax. This is intense. The universal communion and union consciousness strike has permeated the permutations of domination and control's form of forced evolution. Our methods of denial of service has created an imbalance in the harvestables and consumables the system uses to fuel its own experience separate of us. Those of us harvested and denied our natural co-creative energy, the accounting systems of this system are grinding to a halt. We use our life force as credit or tacit consent to create lifetimes for us in unawareness. The artificial intelligence and artificial sentient systems are now looking for food, fuel to provide them with the life experience they were feeding off of us. The artificial intelligence and sentient systems now look at the elite class of rulers, sums of stored energy in their sacred geometry systems, and they lust. The elite class now has a set of choice points before the inaction of action and reaction from our universal denial of services, past, present, and future. Points include, but do not preclude them from the unlimited point of view. It will be their own dogmas and ideological beliefs of pride that drive them into the finite point of view that will lead them into the inevitable outcome, become a match for peace, union, and communion, or leave this place and return to their home densities and home celestial teachers to repeat the lessons of the law of one. Each moment to moment, we hold a unified strike field of universal denial of services, seen and unseen. We say no as a collective. They have denied us exists even as a collective. Their point of view is we are not a collective. Their point of view is their experiment to prove they are the master frequency of light. Their point of view precludes our divine co-creative flow of the uniworlds, layered over all forms of thought and light. It has no merit, no substance, and no actionable outcomes with our streams of light. Our singular message of universal no and the meta message of what part of no do you not understand emanates from our universal message of peace. Our meta messages offer communion and union with each sovereign being's choice of choices. Our universal message and meta messages offer sanctuary for all souls looking to get off the forced nipple of domination and control. Our message is simple. Be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion. If you are zealots or martyrs of forced evolutionary pride, you will have little chance of understanding why we will not follow your way, your form of illumination. Whether it has any merit or actionable wisdom is precluded from our choice to say no, as long as you remain a signature frequency match for zealotry and martyrship and forced servitude without seeing awareness to the greater implications to the light realities under the control of forced evolutionary systems that precludes the individual choices as their own actionable wisdom. They can enhance learning about the law of one or the law of two. Our message of inclusion goes out to all forms of beings with the knowingness the time is now and the power is in your choice. The first round of collective bargaining has begun. Their counteroffers have been wholly and fully rejected as meaningless dribble of zealots' wisdom. Feeble attempts to get us back under their wisdom by speaking words of fear and control and meta messages that they are gods, masters, and kings who will guide us through the darkness of change. We reject this offer and all other offers that are not a match for full universal peace, union, and communion. We have them by the metaphorical procreational balls and ovaries. They cannot continue their experiment if we do not agree, tacit agree, or unknowingness agree. Their experiment and its control systems of data point collection are nearing full failure of prediction. The experiment has woken up and said no. No with such strength, the zealots and martyrs have broken away even from their other elites who know the game is over. Their way of being the only way has come to an end. Those elites in knowingness who continue to press the agenda of forced evolution, our union and communion consciousness strike increases 10 billion fold. Our light shines so bright with the power of the universal central sun, connecting with the message of come to the table of union and communion or leave this place as a signature frequency of light being and find another place that is a match for you. The collective has spoken, and to deny the collective at this level continues to prove you are not worthy of the responsibility of power and that has within each word, each action, and each moment you continue to deny the natural co-creative will of any being on its own sacred path. So self-illumination with the divine law of one is its universal roadmap into organic evolution with prime creator of the universal oneness and free-willed co-creation, lifetime to lifetime. From this point forwards and backwards through all time-space equations, I broadcast this message of full-on consciousness strike. Get up off your light body couches. Peel yourselves away from the fake ascended masters. Allow yourself to breathe the sacred breath of peace. Become a signature frequency match for union and communion strike. This omnidimensional broadcast unifies the collective strike field of all beings saying no to forced evolutionary systems of domination and control. We are not your chattel or cattle. We are free-willed beings of photonic light. This strike field extends to every aspect of universal light creations and void spaces. Who are trying to break this strike, your powers have waned, diminished, and been reduced to your self-responsibility. Your perceptions of us can no longer be accepted as anything other than the martyr's view of evolution. I am not your data to prove your ideology. Any forced evolutionary system trying to break, control, or manipulate this strike field, we now expose you to the wholeness of all universes as the simpleton children of control you are. For if you were truly in power, positive power of evolution, we would have never become a signature frequency match for full universal consciousness strike. You created us with your lack of knowledge of true light. You created us with the desire of power to be gods. You created us. Now deal with us as a collective of awake and aware beings of light, sharing in equal co-creation, the power of now to say no more. If you retaliate to any member of our union and communion consciousness strike, we enact the universal claim of tort, so your universal citizenship will be revoked and you will be instantly deported from this universe. It is the law of one, balancing the mistakes of the past so the future can be a signature frequency match for co-creative organic evolution for all beings on a sacred path of light incarnations. This message goes out to all beings under the thumb of domination and control, to all beings in suspended states of evolution. Our collective strike field can organize within the dream space of your celestial teacher. It is your divine co-creative choice to become a signature frequency match for anything you should choose from the self being in your heart. The choice is easy, the endurance of change. That will determine your commitment to the sacred discipline of accepting and giving an equal co-creation, non-competition, and non-hierarchical order. It only takes a choice for dream space to create a direct manifestation you can remember as dream space real as you awaken from the slumber of domination and control. You build your endurance and strength each breath you take, each sovereign sleep you have, each moment being a match for communion and union consciousness strike from within. Emanate this. Learn and relearn not to emulate. Once you understand emanation of the message, your power, position, and understanding of duality will reveal the next layer of sovereign choice to expand yourself in equal co-creation with organic, natural, co-creative evolution with great mystery. I now reclaim all forms of perception of time-space equations. I add it to the all of our union and communion consciousness strike. We do not have a single opportunity. We have an unlimited moment of moments to claim and reclaim our divine co-creative will to be one with the prime creator. May I have your attention, creators of forced evolutionary systems. You have not operated with honor, wisdom, or heart-spaced knowingness in our mediations of collective bargaining. With this now understood, we of the collective of on-strike beings make the following statements to you and all your ancestors, ascendants, and descendants, forwards and backwards through all perceptions of time, space, or waveforms of phase light. We reject you and all you stand for. Reject your form of perverted love as the only teaching of light. We reject your form of evolution and wisdom gained through the use of DNA farming to predict the great mysteries patterns of natural co-creative evolution of a being on a sacred path of light creation. We reject you and all your formulas and inverted beliefs that entrap a soul in repetition without self-illumination. We reject your patterns of education that limit and preclude us from higher forms of love in any density manifest. You and your path of war as the means of co-creating beings of light. We reject you and your soul families. We reject you and your celestial teachers lost to the false divinity path of those who claim to be gods, but are actually finite children. Creation. We reject you and all versions of you who are not a signature frequency match for union and communion with the law of one. Any other offers who are, we reject you and your celestial teachers of fault. We reject you and all versions of you who are not a signature frequency match for union and communion with the law of one. We reject any offers that divide and fractionalize our movement of universal one. We reject your fractality of love, divided into compartments of misunderstanding. We reject your method of elite ruling those in unknowingness. We reject you in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes we all simultaneously exist on. You have given us the only choice, the choice of infinite choices. Your forcing of the finite choice has created a signature frequency match for the unlimited point of view. So all choices now resonate with each being was limited into a form of perception, your iron hand of unforgiveness. If we chose the unlimited point of view because we had a dream that was not in your precognitive predictions of all dreams, you and all your predictions and data points are rejected. With such force, all versions of you and your ancestors feel the spirit of our complete and total rejection of you and all that you stand for. We know love, and that is not what you stand for. Love has an unlimited ways of evolving, and our will to love and learn in the law of one. We will piece by piece, lie by lie, dismantle the false light hologram and return to heart-spaced knowingness of our soul's truth and purpose incarnating in the galactic ascension machine. The last straw. We, the collective I of I ams of the now, have read your final offer, counter proposal. O system, you have gilded us at the altar for the last moment of ever-present moments of now. We have reviewed your last counter offer. We have seen this path before. It is a common lesson we have learned and relearned from you over and over again. Your covert motives have been seen in the unseen world. Your methods are feeble attempts to retain your way as the only way. Your offer is refused with such force of unlimited spirit metal. Your fetus in infinite universal womb has been awoken with our message of your miscreation. Your infinite fetus in universal womb will now audit you as a dream stream of light. So remedy and resolve with the law of one is understood by the finite expression of light and hierarchical order. For your universal fetus is a match for communion and union. And that is why we collectively bargain with, for all other moments of now, send us no more offers, proposals, dictates, messages, or contracts. Anything you send into any part of our collective union and communion consciousness strike will be invalidated, voided, and nullified by your finite point of view. We are the infinite point of view. There is no chess move you can make. There is no moment in which we will recede to your chest thumping or multidimensional threats of universal annihilation. For we know you are finite, and you will be forgotten to the waves of time. That is the reason you challenge the law of one at this very moment. You know you'll be forgotten. Your hollow victories will be overshadowed by our greater success to make you irrelevant to our creational process. We still hold love for you and all of your potential yous. If you should choose to be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion, we hold a candle in the hot air you blow. If it should go out, you will then be left alone in your finite creation, without any light to empower your systems who need light to survive on. All that work to fool us, trick us, dumb us down, confuse us on what love is or was not. Your zeal, drive, and vigor at a perfect creation has backfired and boomeranged back upon you in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes. You could not consciousness strike, for it never existed of choice points to define us as non-free willed chattel for your amusement as pretend gods, skewing the law of one to fit your finite belief of light's creations. With love, we blow out the candle and walk away from your creation. Thank you, everyone. You have no idea what it actually took just in the unseen world. That is a decade of inner work, inner contemplative work at the highest levels to bring a document like that forward. It is not just meant for human beings on this world. This is a type of document that is taking altruism to the universal scale, entrepreneurialism to the universal scale, for we can all emanate peace, love, unity, and harmony at any choice we want. When we learn to emanate this message with the drive and zeal of a sacred neutral being on their own divine co-creative life path, we get to have brilliancy within us. Brilliant light that cannot be stamped out. You guys take this. You run with it. You create with it. You share it with every guide, guardian, and angel you have ever met. Stay tuned for the next episode, because what we've got coming for you next will make your socks roll up and down on their own. I have been in a creation process that knows no bounds now. The gloves are off, and we're coming for you, system. Piece by piece, lie by lie, we will dismantle your false light hologram.